But for now, let's begin our new campaign named Housebound Adventuring. Yeah.
Oh my god, it does say dwarf. Oh my god, I labelled myself a dwarf. Oh my god, I'm an idiot.
I thought it was going to be like a big surprise unveiling or something, and then when Tom said it, I was like, oh no,
No, I'm just an idiot.
Okay, those are the two things I know.
Those are the two things you know. Cornwall exists. Also, you are in Cornwall. Caspian Kinshire. CASPIEN KINSHIRE.
Does he type it out at the end of the letter?
Alongside him is a giant Great Dane, a dog, a huge dog. Hello, who are you?
I'm Randall.
You are
Randall, yes.
Wow, judging the book by its cover much.
She opens up the chest and she shows it to you. It's now empty and broken.
Can I?
See your sword.
Listen, let's do our job, okay? We're here for a reason. Welcome to the real world, princess.
Skips away.
We're
Still
all
with the
in
three.
there together.
Still with the.
All of you now need to make a dexterity saving throw. It's a massive wave of just this colossal wave of sewer and sewage liquid comes pouring down this canal and pushes you and slowly being sucked into it. She shouts,
Ah, Cthulhu, save me.
Oh wait, I guidance myself.
I guidance myself. You can't say that post-roll.
30! Which, remember, I'm not playing a bard.
Yeah, I'm going to give that to you simply because you're not playing a bard.
Yep.
Adam has just said, we found a meat jar in a field. It was just a mason jar full of meat in the forest. What the fuck?
The worst geocache ever.
You're poking around a sewer. What's down there? Rats, probably. Rats and jelly.
Or
Right,
ooze,
well.
maybe?
And
What?
boulders.
Killer poos?
I said an ooze or an ooze, maybe?
Ooze. All right,
I don't
well.
know what it was.
Don't know how I heard killer poos, but that sounds more dangerous. Name's Angie.
Hi, Angie.
Angie Melange.
Angie Melange, cool.
DM writes down Angie Melange.
Tell her if she sells any phalanges, quick.
Angie Melange's shop of towels and phalanges.
You can see absolutely all the way through her to the grating in the wall behind her, where you can see that some water is trickling through. On the ground below her, you can see her skeletal remains, or what you assume are her skeletal remains.
Harlow, and you are Barf?
No. I mean, I have a few in my life, but no.
It's not his scrotum. Would you like to see the other gentleman that I almost chose to be the monster?
Yes.
Gentleman, eh?
Gentleman. Top hat.
Milady.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Milady.
god.
Placing the talisman in the hole.
If it does that, I'm gonna.
As you push it in there, it looks like maybe it needs a little bit of a twist. So you give it a bit of a shimmy, and as you do so, it is ejected into your hands, and the wall it is on.
I don't like this narrative at all.
Oh, why does it smell so bad?
Can't smell anything.
How may I assist you?
Oh no.
Will be the potion.
Okay, what do we have to do?
Do you agree
Yep.
to the...
Boop boop. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
everyone.
Hi.
Look at us, our usual 15 minutes late.
That's fashionably late.
True.
This
Gotta
is
build the
exactly-
anticipation.
We need to start telling
Clever
ourselves
marketing.
that we're going to start 15 minutes early so that we get here a little bit.
But we'll all
Then
know.
we'll be 30 minutes.
We'll,
Yeah.
we'll all know.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I hope you have had a nice couple of weeks. We've been a little bit away, but we're a little bit back now. We're playing a Housebound Adventuring, some Dungeons and Dragons, tabletop RPGing. and we'll do a very, very brief recap because we're starting afresh today. We're starting afresh in that we've just finished a quest, so you don't have to have any prior knowledge of anything. We're back in the driving seat, going home, fresh new levels. Everything's good. Although I have forgotten one big thing. It's just
Another
occurred
one?
to me.
Another
Yeah,
one.
this is a different big thing that I'd forgotten about,
Oh.
but it's fine. It'll happen.
Two people are
eventually.
dead. 2 people are dead. I'm calling it now.
Anyway, last session, you guys had kind of already just finished a quest, really. We were kind of just doing another quest where you'd already finished a quest. Last session, we started with you having killed a bunch of hooden horse. Oh my goodness, is it a hype train?
Hype train. Thanks so much, Miles, for
Hype
gifting
train.
us up the
Thank you, Miles.
dogs.
You'll have a limited time to earn exclusive emotes.
Exclusive.
Go, guys. Holy shit, 71 gift subs. Miles, bonkers.
Accidentally
Aw.
lost 69. It was a sad day.
Yeah, so close to 69. Oh. Yes, so the last quest you guys were on was that you had come to Bogbrook to do some poking around, basically. We don't need to go into too much detail about what that quest was about because it's over now. We can forget it happened.
We don't care.
But Nerdy had a lovely
What's a
moment
Bogbrook?
with Arisen Priscilla, who is a character from her past. There was a nice little resolution to that arc that we had there, where basically this person had come around and was responsible for hunting Nerdy down after she escaped from the thing that I've forgotten the name of. I'm really not on it today.
Enclave.
The Enclave, that's the one. I was like, was it the Collective, the Colony? No.
Basically, all those things.
The debt collectors.
we got out of
Not
there.
that though.
All those things apart from the thing that Doxis said.
Yeah.
And Arisen Priscilla was responsible for tracking her down. But here we are, escaped, adventuring for now several months, and you've bumped into Arisen Priscilla. She's been like, they kicked me out. I'd really like to be back on their good side. Can you help me kill some werewolves? And you were like, sure. And then you tried to find some werewolves to kill in Bogbrook. And there weren't any werewolves, but there was
They're only
wolfmans
friends.
and werebears. I like to throw in the wolfmans because I was like, haha, werewolves, wolfmans. Anyway,
Legally distinct from Bogman's
Yes,
for
exactly.
purposes of separate campaigns.
So you had you went there, did a quest, found out that you didn't kill the werewolves in the end because they were werebears and you were friends with them and they were lovely and they weren't monsters. And Arisen Priscilla came to the resolution that she was going to stay there and look after them because she's a goodie now, and that was very nice. You guys had a nice little cuddle. You had some divine intervention bit going on there, and you left Bogbrook after leaving behind a bit of money, a couple of haikus.
Wait, did we have divine intervention?
No, you did. You with the
Oh,
wings.
I am the divine
Yeah,
intervention.
you're the divine
That's
intervention,
right.
yeah.
I will accept that as an answer. I was like, I don't remember there being. Hold on.
And then you left you
Yep,
left
we did.
Bogbrook.
That's how the locals pronounce it.
You got out. You got out of there. And I'm so not on it today. I'm sorry. It's going to be one of those games. You left Bogbrook. And on the way back to Nesmith, you saw a silhouette on the horizon. Ended up with us having a little interaction with someone called Wolfmans, who is a man surrounded by wolf cubs, dressed like a wolf. He was very friendly, as long as you didn't touch the wolf cubs.
Sometimes if you did.
And sometimes
We
if
did
you
notice.
did, when he didn't notice. He was very keen to save some wolf cubs that had been trapped on the other side of a cave after a cave-in. With a lot of help and some immovable rod shenanigans from Haiku, you managed to get a clearing enough for the cub to come out of the cave-in. On the other side of that cave-in, turns out there was an ancient portal. An ancient portal that appeared to have an origin in Chult, which is a faraway land in Faerun that Haiku hails from. When poking around in there, Wolfman's rewarded you for your help with a small stone that looked like a turtle and had some engravings in, including the word force and movement that were written in a language.
Aquan.
Aquan,
Yes,
there you
Aquan.
go. Written in Aquan.
That one that
Uh,
only Haiku could speak or understand.
Oh, how convenient. And it looked like a turtle? Wow.
Whoa.
I can't connect the dots here.
I think there's a pattern.
Crazy. And we pretty much ended the session there. You guys have poked around a little bit to see if there was any extra goodies in there. Mostly it was just poop and bones. And that's where we ended our session. So today's session will begin with you guys leaving Wolfman's cave, sadly, with the wolf cubs being left behind. And Wolfman's, who is the most important part of that, not just the adorable little cubs. And going back to Nesmith. So today we start afresh. You guys get to check out some quests on the quest board, poke around, do whatever you want to do. But before we start our game, we will do our prompts. I didn't start the stream by saying what the prompts were today, but the first prompt that we will be doing is from Maori Nerd in chat, something that Evan has contributed, because if you want to contribute to our prompts, as I have promoted a million times, you can do so at our Discord. Oh, where's the command? Usually Docs is the one that runs for it.
Oh, I'm distracted. Anyways.
One of the prompts that we're using today is from Evan, and it is, who in the party would win in a dance-off? Another one of the prompts that we're using is, what does your character feel? How does your character feel about taking risks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, to begin with, we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to start with Randall. At least it's the bottom for me.
I'm at the bottom. I'm at the top for me.
Randall. Who would win a dance-off?
Randall doesn't even need to think about this. It's Oro. Immediately, it's Oro. Like, remember when we were in Walloon and we were at like some bar, and then Oro was like entertaining everybody outside. Like, Oro would win. There's no doubt.
Okay, but that was a performance. It wasn't a dance.
No, but
A dance is a performance.
No, I understand that a dance is a performance, but the
And,
performance in
like-
this particular case was an act, right?
I don't think you're changing any
remember.
of our minds.
No, I'm not here to change minds. I'm just here to rock the boat slightly.
Oh, I see. I
then
see.
also
To see if that shakes anything loose from anyone's opinions. See if we can
At
get it a
the-
little bit more saucy in
But
here.
there's at the circus. I think you could describe Oro's performance at the circus as kind of a dance, although it was
A
more
dance with
theatrical.
death.
A dance with death.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we'll continue going around the other questions as well. Randall, how does Randall feel about taking risks?
I think Randall is probably relatively risk averse. Like, there has to be like a decent payoff for that risk, but otherwise,
makes sense.
probably trying to do things in a safe way.
What do you think motivates Randall's risk aversion? Is it worry about, failure, or is it worrying about getting harmed, putting other people at risk? What?
I don't think it's about getting harmed so much, but it's probably like partly like missing out. So like if he gets, well, like obviously if he's killed, but if he otherwise gets like he can't continue adventuring, then he misses out on like all these tales and stories and stuff. And maybe there's part of it of like letting down his monastery, or maybe not being able to make it back to like return, because obviously you can't just text your boss like, hey, I heard this cool story today. Like, you actually have to like, send something back to them or
That's true.
go back.
Has Randall sent anything back to the monastery?
No.
Not even an email.
No pigeons, no smoke signals. Oro 4, Tom 0. All right.
There are couriers in this world, so you could just send something by courier.
Oro. Good answers, Docs. I enjoyed those. I'm trying not to say I liked it a lot because I've
Not allowed.
accidentally reinforced a meme on myself.
Yeah.
Oro, who do you think would win in a dance-off?
Oro. I think Oro would win. But Noko put a good point. If he could put all his stuff down, Haiku would win the dance-off. I think Oro also believes that Haiku would probably have a mean dance-off if was prompted and wasn't so jingly jangly.
Okay, so Oro. So this is a question I'm asking for Oro's perspective here. Does Oro believe that she would win in a dance-off, or do you believe that Oro would win in a dance-off?
Both.
Okay.
But I think Oro's got like cool tricks and stuff that she can do in a dance.
Uh-huh.
And like being a good dancer could still be like, feel the rhythm and all that. And I think Oro can do that, but I think Haiku could also do that too.
Okay, good answer. How does Oro feel about taking risks?
Oro is mostly fine with taking risks, but has been less fine since she's been adventuring. So beforehand, probably fine. Since adventuring has been like, all right, maybe I need to have a couple of steps of thinking before I take this risk immediately.
Okay, that is a really good answer. What do you think? There's any particular instance that has made Oro start to rethink her attitude towards taking risks?
The first thing that came to mind was the windmill incident and seeing Neurali do that, which is maybe something that lives in Oro's mind as like that was something that could go incredibly wrong.
Listen, who could have known?
Yeah, exactly.
We wouldn't have known.
Okay, that's a good answer. That's a really good answer. Okay, Haiku. Who do you believe would win in a dance-off?
It depends, I think. If it's like an impromptu, spontaneous dance-off, hands down has to be Oro.
Right. Okay.
Easily.
Right.
However, if you give Haiku, I don't know, 6 months preparation time, and I'm sure they could, scrap together some kind of, I don't know, exoskeleton for their legs to just do it for them.
Oh,
that is excellent.
genius.
Think
Like
about
the
That is a brilliant answer.
sign language translator.
Yes.
More dangerous.
Okay, that's fantastic. I like that. I really love the idea of just like, but also you could like throw in like cool additional things, like you have like fireworks popping off your shell and that kind of shit.
Yeah. Or when they drop to the floor and spin around, just spin on my shell.
Oh my
I
god!
thought of that. Like, I think if it were a breakdancing contest, then Haiku would definitely have the capacity to show us all up, just like an endless spin on the shell.
Yep.
Very like
two rockets attached.
TMNT Secrets of the Ooze vibes, like with Vanilla Ice at the end. That's what
Right.
I'm feeling. with
So just
that.
imagine like a Catherine wheel going
Yeah.
round the floor.
What's a Catherine wheel?
It's
Firework.
a firework that you'd like
Spinning.
put on a fence and it would just spin.
Ooh, fun.
Okay, how about? And this is I mean, we're going to get a good answer from Haiku for this one. How does Haiku feel about taking risks?
Bit of a risk taker, but
Really?
usually quickly regrets them.
Instant regret.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially if it's like a big payoff of like a relic at the end of it, or simply just to learn something. It's in the long run, it's usually worth it, but regret in the short run.
Okay, excellent. Neurali. Who does Neurali think would win in a dance-off?
Definitely Oro.
Okay,
Definitely.
I'm seeing a lot of
Yeah.
similar answers here.
As soon as you were like, we're gonna do these 2 prompts, I was like, okay, so Oro for the first one. And then for risk taking, I think I think she's also generally fairly risk averse, and the only time that becomes almost the complete opposite is when she sees somebody that needs help. And then a lot of the concerns for herself kind of go out the window, and then she kind of will do whatever she feels like she can to try to, especially if it's like mortal danger, throw caution to the wind, I suppose, and try to help.
So would you say that what's the? I'm trying to think of one. Give me one example of where that has been the case, where you've had an example of someone being in danger and you've just immediately gone like, go.
At the circus, when I realized something was wrong with Oro's friend and that she was in danger, even though we were surrounded by people, and the knowledge of having wings appear suddenly was definitely going to be noticeable and could cause like word to get back. She knew that the fastest way to get there was going to be that, without having to try to like climb over things or go around people or whatever.
Bloody good answers all around today, guys. Thank you very much for taking part in our prompteroos. For the millionth time, if you fancy throwing some more prompts in there, please do, because Jenny and I went through a big old list of all of the prompts we could find on the internet, and so many of them were bad. So many were terrible. So if you do fancy contributing some good ones, help me out.
Help me help you.
Help me to help you. We've got some good ones, but and the ones that people have contributed so far have been very good, including who in the party would win in a dance-off. That was again from Evan. Thank you, Evan, for contributing that one. Okay, so today's session, you are stepping out of Wolfman's cave and onto the road. We've already had to pull wolf cubs away from Nurali just so that we could get back on the road, and it's we've got a tiny little bit of a morose feel that's kind of overlaying the party right now. You've come away from Bogbrook. It was very somber, having to think about so much death, and the moment where we had Priscilla kind of making this choice to abandon the Enclave and search for this new life in Bogbrook, looking after these individuals here. And there was enough loss of life over the last day that is it's a bummer. It's a bummer, bro. However, you have just come out of a cave full of adorable wolf cubs, so really balanced out quite well. Also met a new best friend, Wolfman's, who is not Bogman's. Very different.
Extremely.
But you think that within the day you could get back to Nesmith quite comfortably if you get a hop on. As you know, there isn't a very good road from Bogbrook to Nesmith, but having travelled this way once before, you're fairly confident that you could get back within a day, and you know that once you do get home, you've got comfortable beds in your new bedrooms, and you've got somewhere to settle down, and it starts on a new adventure. Find a new quest to pursue. So, unless you guys have anything in particular that you want to stop and do, or you want to emote about your time leaving the cave, perhaps, or anything you want to do on the road?
No.
No? Okie dokie. Then, it's late evening as you arrive in Nesmith. It's a familiar sight as you come down the hill into the town, and the lanterns through people's windows are kind of flickering, and a couple of them are going out. You still have this kind of quite lovely scent of lavender that's coming from the herb garden just outside of Honu's house. You kind of stop by and have a look in the window just to see if he's up and at him, but the lights are out. And there is no friendly wave this time.
But everything here seems to be quietly content, as you've come to expect from Nesmith. Walking down through the town, making sure that you've got an opportunity to just do the rounds just very quickly before you walk back up the hill towards the manor. You see that the tavern at this stage is quite quiet. A couple people inside. You can see that the light is kind of flickering underneath the door, and you can just about smell like the remnants of whatever they were cooking for that day. You suspect it's still the stew. The market square is closed. You can see that there is now a small patch of grass that is growing back where Evelyn used to be sitting, and the patch of grass where a statue used to exist is now completely back to a natural estate. In fact, there is a small patch of flowers that is growing there. Back up the hill, you can find yourself back at your manor, opening the ground doors in the front, and you can find the tittering of what you think is Evelyn playing with Parsnip deeper into the building.
What flowers are growing where the statue
Some
used to be?
dandelions.
That's someone who's prepared now.
Sorry?
That's someone who's now prepared.
What do you mean?
Well, it's like, I'm going to mention flowers. I need to know what flowers they are.
I said flowers, and I was like, Katie's going to ask me about what flowers they are. I was like, well, it's not going to be anything like poignant. It's going to just be weed flowers.
Well, so the thing is, like, knowing that I almost called her Hyacinth. Thistle is aware of what's going on. Like, Neurally would see flowers being left behind as, like, perhaps a sign from Thistle.
Okay.
So she would pay attention to that.
Sure,
She
yeah.
associates her with stuff like that. So
Okay, that makes sense. I love this idea of connecting the worlds with Wolfmans and Bogmans. Eventually, we'll go on to campaign 3, and there'll be, I don't know, Marshmans.
Mans.
Tree mans.
Mins.
But you arrive, and you can see that Evelyn is in the kitchen, it appears. Or rather, the room just next to the kitchen. There's this, the dining room that you have, the hall. And she's been throwing around what looks like to be a small little ball, bouncing a tennis ball-sized object off the walls for Parsnip to chase around. And seems very confused when, instead of chasing the ball, Parsnip darts out the door and comes careening towards you guys instead. Starts doing zoomies around your feet, almost knocking you over. Still a little bit... not quite as familiar with Haiku, but you have spent a couple of months over the winter period together, so still happy to see you, even if you're not entirely happy to see Parsnip. But you have a moment to rest, collect yourselves, eat some food that isn't basic rations or whatever you've managed to scrounge, settle into your bedrooms, and have a night to yourselves. That isn't in a stable surrounded by like hay in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that your characters want to do now you're home overnight? What's your ritual? Basically, you've come in after walking for pretty much the entire day. You're tired. You're very tired. You just got in the door, but you're starving, and you want to get to bed ASAP. What are your bedtime routines for this particular day?
I think if we're exhausted, Oro is literally just gonna eat and then pass the fuck out. Like, if she's exhausted, she's like, I don't care what I'm wearing. I don't care if I need to wash my face before I go to bed. I'm just passing out immediately. On top of the covers. Like, she's just face planted in the bed and she's just out.
What's Oro's go-to super quick meal to just scoff and then in bed?
Does it have to be some kind of thought D&D meal, or can it just be anything that I can imagine?
Whatever you want.
It's cinema popcorn usually, because popcorn would be what would be in the circus, and you just grab a box of popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
But let's pretend that popcorn is a thing that she's been able to just
Yeah,
like
why not?
put on the hob and then be like.
Yeah, she can make popcorn. She can make popcorn.
She's took the pan up of popcorn that she's just finished up to bed with her.
I feel like popcorn
before
she
gets
could
to eat
like.
it.
I feel like that's the kind of meal that she can like walk into the kitchen and throw a bunch of the like dried corn and some oil into a pan and like fall asleep on the table, and the popping is what like wakes her up.
Yeah,
She like watches it for to be done and just grabs it and leaves.
Yeah.
Okay, very, very good. How about the rest of you guys? What are your? How do you manage your evening coming back after a long day?
I think Nerly would probably just grab something simple like some bread or like cheese or some fruit or something, and head over to the little chapel. Spend a little bit of time there while she eats, thinking especially about Priscilla and everything that happened. Quiet contemplation, a little very one-sided conversation with the moon, and then go to bed.
Very one-sided conversation with the moon.
The
You
moon
say
just never shuts up. Never let you get a word in.
Oh yeah. Just talking all the time. Oh.
Okie dokie. How about Haiku and Randall?
Well, Haiku's pretty interested in this stone they found. So I think at this point they'd just outright skip eating and go straight to tinkering.
Straight to tinkering?
Pretty much all night. Yeah.
Keeping us up all night with your tinkering.
Yeah. A loud tinkerer.
Well then.
What are you tinkering with? What's your goal with your tinkering?
Well, it's just a series of experiments to try and figure out what it does. I mean, there's already enough hints, of force and movement, so there's a pretty already suspicions of what it does, but it's just getting it to work. Like just trying to like graft it onto the gauntlet that Haiku has.
Okay, I've got some difficult questions for you. What are the outcomes of your experiments?
Nice, difficult on the spot question there, Tom. Love it.
Hey, listen. Hey, Randall, why don't you tell us about your evening whilst Haiku thinks about
Alright.
that for a while?
So I'm going to slowly explain Randall's evening with
Yeah.
lots of words in between.
Yeah.
If by the time that you've finished explaining, Haiku has come up with a comfortable answer for that, you both get a d6.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Thought of that much stuff. Okay, so first of all, I think Randall has to go through, like, he's kind of a bit ritualistic about some of his things, and there's like the full ritual, which could go on for quite a long time. But then there are shorter rituals and shorter ones, like where it's like these are the like actual critical things. Also, if you're done, Jack, just like so that, yeah, there's like critical parts of those rituals that just can't be skipped, and so he goes through those ones first, and so he has to unpack his. God.
I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if you were going to describe it.
I haven't been given the signal yet. So he starts off and he has to unpack his satchel first. And it's like you have to take all the bits out of it and put them back in their appropriate places and make sure everything is like neat and clean. And then fold the satchel up.
Long pause.
And then he goes to bed.
I just love the idea of that being a filibuster. Standing there, eating up as much time as you possibly can, and then he takes his coat off, and then he takes his jumper off. How you feeling, Haiku? You good to go?
Yeah. So it was a series of experiments. Okay.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
So, first, force is one of the words on it, and one of the abilities that I have is a force ballista with another stone revolver. So I take the chamber out of the revolver, and very sort of like tape the stone inside where the chamber would be, go outside, try to use it. Bang! It doesn't work at all. Just completely ruptures the weapon. Second experiment. Haiku just tries to hit it really hard. Just
Don't
with
understand
a
it, just whack it.
stone hammer or a stone mallet. Places it between the wall of the workshop and the immovable rod, so it can't go anywhere. Keep it in place. Gives it a big old whack, and the hammer snaps and flies off.
Non-Newtonian rock. It's,
Yeah.
properties change when it's impacted.
So the third experiment, we're now on to trying to graft it onto the gauntlet. So the first attempt, Haiku very carefully places it in, and there's like a very ominous, almost imagine like a lot of wind rushing into a small hole. And it gets louder and louder, and then it just pops right off the gauntlet.
Okay.
And so the fourth experiment is placed into a different part of the gauntlet, a lot more securely this time, and it appears, the gauntlet appears to have accepted it. Appears to be working, or at least not working.
Not working. Okay. Are there any effects that come with the successful grafting of this special stone to your gauntlet?
Yeah. Well, when a Haiku goes to check that the gauntlet still works, it turns out they can move stuff from a distance with it.
How interesting.
Almost telekinetically.
Oh. Almost like what, the perk?
The feat that I've forgot what it's called. That one.
Yeah. What's it called?
Oh, it's called telekinetic.
Hey!
Oh!
Oh my gosh, that's so cool!
That's two of our characters that wanted to pick up feats and have a cool story-based thing, which is very well done. The both of you get your D6s. Good time buying by Randall over here, and Jack, you did a great job there with describing your experiments. Well done. Okay, well then we've burned through everyone's time for this evening. What you're doing before you go to bed, but I have one more possibly difficult question for Neurali. You guys all go to bed. Oro face plants. Haiku burns the midnight oil. Randall finishes his rituals and goes to his barracks. Neurali spends some time, kind of trying to attune, kind of getting some stuff off her chest, just talking to the moon a little bit, before gracefully moving to the bedroom and falling asleep. You dream, Neurali, as you do most nights. But this dream is a special dream. You can tell because it gives you especially you have more, like, slightly more detailed kind of images that are portrayed to you. This is the difficult question. What did you dream of, Neurali? Just like to say, pro tip for any DMs watching, get your players to do all of the work.
You finished the campaign.
Tell me, how does this story end?
Who is the big bad evil guy? You decide. I'm just gonna. Malka gave Haiku another D6, so I assume he can have 2 D6s. Tom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
Evan says, "Take notes."
So I think it starts off kind of where it had the last one that I knew was important left off, with her overlooking the colorful lights from like a vantage point. And at first it looks like first it's kind of indistinguishable what the city is, and then it kind of almost takes on the shape of Bogbrook, but then it starts to change again, and it's another place that she's unfamiliar with, and the lights fade, but she feels drawn to it. And so she goes down, and as she gets closer to what she felt like the place was before, or where it was, it's the scenery is changing around her, and the water, instead of being boggish, kind of clears up, and there's like a separation where there's like a stream that splits into two, kind of similar to the one where we fought the like weird dragony shadow thing at, but clean water, like trees around, not at all like threatening seeming. And there's the place where the river splits is she just feels like drawn to it for some reason, and she goes over there, and the moon is particularly bright, and it feels very close, more so than it should, and even remarkably so for like her in one of her dreams like this. And she arrives there, and there's almost like a little, not like carved out, but there's like a naturally kind of flat stone towards the edge of the tip of this water, and she sits down, and she could see the reflection of the moon in it perfectly.
That's lovely. Very lovely. And just off the top of her head like that, you can tell that's Katie's used to this kind of just like coming up with shells. That's beautiful. You get an inspiration point for that, Katie.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be taking this dream, but I'm going to take it somewhere where Nerly would want to go.
We're taking it a little bit towards perhaps the dream that we were going to discuss.
Okay.
That we never discussed. That was the thing at the beginning of the game where I was like, man, I forgot a really important thing. Because you also wanted to have a story thing.
Right. Okay. So then as she sits down, it's almost like the reflection of the moon is a way for it to be even closer to her. And the like
That's
light
cool.
that illuminates from it almost feels like it's kind of radiating off of the water. And every time there's like a ripple, it's like the light gets a little bit closer, like it's a little bit more luminous. And she just kind of feels like bathed in the moonlight.
That's a cool image. That's a very cool image. Yeah, so make sure you write down, you give you a little tick for your inspiration point.
I did.
And you've had a lovely dream. A very poignant dream. Waking up in the morning, each of you feel a certain way. Oh man, I'm making them do all the work today. It's fucking amazing. I've had to do so little DMing so far. All I've done is say, tell me stuff. Honestly, DM of the year. No work. You wake up feeling some type of way. Not horny. Just to clarify.
How do you know?
Yeah, wait till you hear answers.
Tell me, what type of way are you feeling this morning after your nightly activities?
Aura's mouth feels dry from not eating anything or drinking anything after the popcorn, and fell asleep with a handful of popcorn in her mouth, so is confused.
Definitely make it feel dry.
Torty says, wow, Tom, trying to railroad by not letting the characters be horny?
In this economy?
I brought a picnic to snack on. You all play without me today. Oh, I've got a snack. That's a really good point, actually, honestly. Kawaii food.
Kawaii, thanks so much for the 500 biddies. I appreciate it. I hope you're doing well today.
Bloody love kawaii food.
In real life, I woke up today with like a super dry mouth for no particular reason. And it was so dry and bothersome that my entire dream was about me being like unquenchingly thirsty. And like I kept like, there was a point where I was literally like putting handfuls of water from like a tap into my mouth, and it was still feeling dry. And I remember in the dream being like, why? What is going on? And then I woke up and I was like, oh, that's why. It all makes sense now. I was more bothered by that than the fact that in the dream I'd been like kidnapped. So like obviously our priorities were important there. Nearly wakes up feeling like the decisions that were made that she had been slightly worried about were the correct ones to make.
Okie dokie. Very cool.
Haiku is tired but satisfied, and ready to give their new glove a go.
Are you looking forward to showing it off?
Yeah,
Showing off the tinkering you did?
you've always got to show off your tinkering. If you don't
I
show
want
off your
someone to
tinkering,
do-
why do you even tinker?
Fair point, honestly. Honestly, fair point. Okay.
I want someone to do a no context cut of this entire session.
Well, I like the idea that we do that for the entire game, just no context cuts, and one of them is me going, DM of the year! Okay. Why does everything that Haiku says sound like sexy times? Haiku's ready to show off their infinity gauntlet. Oh me, oh my. I was not expecting that. Anyway, who hasn't described their morning? That's just Randall, right?
Apparently, yeah. I think Randall's probably quite rested, but also pretty hungry. Given that he didn't actually eat anything when he came back. So
Okey-dokey.
hungry for breakfast, but otherwise well rested.
Nurali, are you going to wake up feeling anything special today, or is that not on the cards?
Yeah, I think she lives with a lot of like internal turmoil, and today is like a particularly peaceful day. Like she lives with this idea that she's supposed to be doing something and she doesn't know what it is, and that someday she'll get the answer to that, and she never knows how directly it's going to be, and so she feels like light on her feet, like when you just wake up and you have like a good day and the like stress that you normally carry just kind of isn't bothering you as much. Yeah,
Okey-dokey.
so it's like
Cool.
a little bit of a spring in her step, I guess.
Very, very cool. Okay. So the bunch of yous get a chance to meet up for breakfast. You find yourself in the company of Evelyn and Parsnip once again. She's excitedly kind of listening to any details that you can give her about your time in Bogbrook, and she signs to you that she would love to go and visit Priscilla because it sounds like an exciting place to go. The festival sounds really fucking metal, and she'd really like to go there next year. So she's very excitedly talking to you in sign for that. And she kind of, you'll get an opportunity to just kind of sit down and eat some food. It's just some bacon and eggs today. And think a little bit about what you want to do with what direction you want to take. You know, where do you want to go? And you kind of all come to the conclusion that maybe we just check out the quest board and see if that adds any additional options for us. Is there anything that anyone wants to reveal whilst they're at the table this morning?
I offer around the rest of the popcorn that I've half eaten as I bring the pan back downstairs.
Is it stale?
Slightly soft. Yep.
No, it's fine. It might be a little bit stale, but it's fine.
I'll take a handful.
Oh yeah.
I would like to try and use my knife and fork telekinetically, just to sort of show it off a bit.
Okay. You've got two options here. Either you can tell me, such good DMing. Best DMing is not DMing at all. Quote me. So you can either tell me how that goes, or we can roll for it.
Roll for it.
Roll for it? Okay, give me an intelligence check, please. Oh! Okay. That's an intelligence save, but you still crit, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, not
shit,
that.
sorry.
Welcome to D&D, you can't crit ability checks. But you still rolled very high. The value is high.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yes.
enough for us. Okay. So please describe to us the scene. Look at this. I have to DM a tour.
Yeah, wow.
Next week you won't even be here.
I could be cooking dinner right now instead of eating fucking angel fucking slices. So you still have to describe it. Malkavir, leave. This is no, because it's a choice between him deciding on how it goes and describing it, or him rolling to see what the outcome is and describing it. So please, the outcome is that this goes very well. After your testing for last night, everything's going super, super smoothly for you. Please describe to us how you using your telekinesis works. Well, remember, you're at the breakfast table with your chums. Everyone's just eating. Nobody knows that you would. I mean, maybe a couple of us heard the tinkering last night, but definitely wasn't Oro because she was fast asleep. But apart from that,
I'm assuming it's quite a large table in like the dining area. I mean, if it's a mansion, it's quite
Oh yeah,
a long table.
it's a big table, yeah.
real big
Okay.
table.
So I set the plate down, the knife and fork down, as you always do, but then go to sit at the end of the table, and then it can only be done with one hand because I've only got one gauntlet. So it's sort of sat at a different part of the table, but as if the plate's in front of me, if that makes sense. So I'm just in sort of thin air, looking at the actual knife and fork, but my hand is doing the actions, and then sort of pulling it over. So like a piece of bacon stuck to the end of the fork, just being floating along the table.
I love that a lot. How do our characters react?
Aura's rubbing her eyes, like, oh, I'm tired.
Have like the handful of the like not super but slightly stale popcorn and take a bite and then just watch as this like bacon goes floating by. Is that new?
Could you always do that?
I figured out what the stone did.
Whoa, sick.
Breakfast across the table.
Bacon mover?
Well, I'm hoping it
The
can do more
breakfast burger.
things, but this is somewhat useful.
That's pretty
Especially
cool.
like if you're tired and you're already in bed, but you don't want to have to get up and go pick something up across the room.
Perfect.
I'm gonna move back and eat normally after I've
Parlor trick over.
Yeah.
Gonna eat like a normie.
too much effort.
I like the idea of the fork never arriving with any food on it because Parsnip is sat between you and your plate. And every time that it comes back, it's just like, oh.
I love the idea that we now have this scene in my head where that's exactly what's happening. The food is coming across on your fork, and then Parsnip kind of just licks it out of the spoon or the fork or whatever. And then instead you're like, no, not this time. And then you lift it above Parsnip's head, but Nugget is on the roof. And just goes. It becomes like an exercise on you having to perfect your craft, because you have to dodge and weave through the entire table worth of animals trying to eat your food before it finally gets to you. By lunchtime, you're very hungry. Okay.
Oh my god, I love it.
Fantastic. What we don't know is that Nugget can use telekinesis as well. Okay, brilliant. So we have one of our feats from our level up has been unlocked. We have Haiku's ability to use telekinesis, which was the choice that you chose when you leveled up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Okie dokie. Well, you guys have eaten your breakfast and you think that maybe it's a good time to check out the quest board. Unless you want to take a couple of days off. I'm all for encouraging adventurers as well as real life actual human beings to take some time for themselves. Or are you eager to get going?
What day is it?
You giving Tom work? You roll for what day it is.
Yeah, I'm
What,
actually
roll a
doing
1d7.
Roll a 1d7.
And then a
Roll
1d12
it.
to be what month it is.
Okay, there you go. It's a Friday.
Friday.
Ah, bugger. Board games night last night.
Oh, shit.
Board game Thursday. Can't wait that long.
Oh, rip.
I feel like the last time you were here, we might have said what day it was going to be, and I'm pretty sure that you said as you left, "I'm going to miss board game night" to Honu as you were leaving. But my memory's not that good, and I'm not scrolling through the VODs to check it out. So
That's definitely something that happened. I don't remember
Yeah.
what day it was that we left on, but I know you were going to miss board game night.
I'm sure I had it down as a Thursday somewhere.
Board game night's definitely on Thursday.
yes, that's board game night. And I remember that Faerun has 10 days, but also there's a very specific limit of things I can hold in my head at any given point, Adam. And D&D rules, unfortunately, are not any of them, despite the fact that I DM very regularly. I've got you for that, Adam. Right. Yes, no, you've missed board game night, unfortunately.
Shit.
But it's a weekend coming up. Not yet. Coming up.
I think Nurley would be of the opinion that even though we don't have a specific direction right now, we definitely want to make sure that we don't end up being too we need to get back to work to make sure that Caspian's not forgotten.
Yeah.
That's what we're under the impression that making a name for ourselves is going to do, is help that somehow until we have more specific idea of what to do.
Okay. I'm very glad that there is a kind of underlying theme of make a name for yourself, and that will move the quest forward, because that means you can just do whatever the fuck you want, really, and and really that's the idea. Okay.
And that means less work for me. DM of the year.
DM of the year. Okay. Very good meme. Okay. Anyway, we leave. We tuck away our breakfast utensils. In the particular instance, we got our knives and forks that have been floating along the room, that have been snatched out of the air and put away. I assume some of you maybe stick behind and do the washing up, so Evelyn doesn't have to do everything. But after breakfast and you've done some tidying, you move on into town, wandering down, and it's a clear enough day where you are, but on the horizon you can see a pretty dark cloud. It looks like the skies are getting a little bit grayer, and you suspect that maybe it's going to rain today. But you find your way down to the quest board, and you see a couple of different quests. One in particular catches your eye, but 3 of the grand total of maybe 10 quests are quite interesting to you. Many of them kind of look like something that's been put there for extremely low-level adventurers. It's literally like, go and kill some rats, that kind of deal. What did we do for our first level adventure? Interesting. So one of the quests on the quest board is that the Purple Dragons are looking for recruits, and they are doing so by hunting a dragon near Weymouth, which you can see on our map, is in the King's Forest. They're hunting a dragon, and they are looking for recruits to help them do such. Roll me a history check, anyone that wants to know more about that.
Me.
You've got a d6. Remember.
I'm using a d6.
Okay. Okay. So Randall can tell you that it's not very common, but it's also not unheard of for the Purple Knights to recruit en masse when it comes to... It's basically a way of skipping a couple of ranks within the Purple Knights, is to go on this kind of dragon hunt. If you are successfully able to hunt a dragon that is of malicious intent, then you are able to skip through kind of the very bottom tiers of being in the Purple Knights organization. so it's one of the things that's kind of it's a rare occurrence, but it's a way for the Purple Knights to recruit people, but also an incentive for people to take part in something that's essentially quite dangerous. So that's one of the quests. We also have a poster here that just reads, "Speedrun challenge in the Long Dungeon. Compete against rival adventurers to win grand prizes, magical items, lots of loot, and glory. See notice poster for details."
Wow.
Oh, glory.
In all
They, like-
caps.
Oh.
The whole thing.
I thought they enchanted it so that as soon as you looked at it, it just started off.
It's got the magic mouth thing on it. Oh gosh.
You assume that when it refers to the notice poster, it's not referring to itself, but it's actually referring to Viliette and Vilitha, or Vithia.
Velitha.
Velitha. I've typoed it in my notes. Velitha, there we go. Who are the adventuring guild of Nesmith's owners, as you recall. And last but not least, there is a notice on there that reads, "Adventurers required. Short research expedition. 1 day to 1 week approximately. Protection entourage for junior scholar. Modest payment upon completion for experienced adventurers. Meet Albert Humperdinck at the Cockerel Inn, Orkspear. From Master Kulf, Liber Amans Monastery."
Is that has Randall ever told us the name of his monastery?
That's a great question.
I don't know. I don't think it's not something that he would hide, but he doesn't necessarily go around shouting it all the time. But he might be like, "I know them.
Oh, okay. There we go.
They,
You know.
they were like my boss at the monastery."
Oh. Who's this Humperdinck
Who
dude?
would
That's a
teach
stupid name.
Is that
You know
the
him?
person that was your boss?
No, the Master Kulf.
Master. Kuth.
So we should do that one then.
Well, maybe, but there's also the Purple Dragon Knights one.
Oh, do you want to be a purple dragon knight?
Well, I wanna go to the library place and learn about Caspian
Hmm.
in the place that I've forgotten, but Randall would remember.
Talk about Suzail, the capital of
Suzail. Mm-hmm. So easy to forget.
What was the first one?
So the first one was the Purple Knights quest.
Yep.
Sorry, the Purple Dragon Knights. Looking for recruits, hunting a dragon near Weymouth, which is all the way over here
And on the map.
on the map.
Okay, now I'm on the
Looking
map.
for you.
To the left. It's near the
To
plunge
the
pool.
left. To the left.
Okay, okay.
It's sort of close to the plunge pool. What a weird fucking name for a place.
plunge pool.
The plunge pool. On the way is Mouth of Gargoyles. The others you have are the Speedrun Challenge in the Long Dungeon, competing against rival adventurers to win grand prizes, magical items, lots of loot and glory!
I do like the sound of that.
To hear about that, you'd have to talk to Viliette and Velitha. And the quest that has been put up here from Master Kulf is referring to Orkspear, which is up here just above Immersea.
Wait,
You tag that
can
one
you gang
again.
that?
Should I just? I'll put a little dot on these, shall I?
Okay.
Yes.
Because I think you're pinging on the GM layer, maybe.
I
don't
was.
see anything. Okay.
I was, but I'm not now. Orkspear.
Ah.
Mm.
That one.
Oh,
Well,
I was not looking for it being spelled like that, which is why I couldn't find it.
Weymouth.
Weymouth.
It's way over there, Weymouth.
Orkspear and Weymouth
Weymouth.
is the
Weymouth.
ones.
Where the fuck
Bad
are we?
recent experience with Master slapping Randall upside
We're
the
right
head. Yes,
there.
there was.
Nesmith.
We're in Nesmith. Right.
You're down here in Nesmith.
Right, got it.
Nesmith.
There's my there's my theory. Got it.
I used a shape instead of drawing with the paint tool because the paint tool gets a bit funky if you start zooming in and out.
Okay.
And you don't know where the other one is because you haven't spoken to
Yeah.
the quest board guys.
Hilp, another great town name.
Kilp. So the dragons one was in Weymouth, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do I know how far away that is?
There is a scale on the bottom.
But if
There's
I
another
read
scale.
Weymouth on there, would I be
no,
like,
it's in top left? If you'd read Weymouth, so no,
Yeah.
you wouldn't.
Okay.
Your experience of most of Cormyr is basically just Welloon and the small area around Welloon and Eggbirth.
yeah.
Grew up.
Would I know
So-
where it is because I've spent some time in the forest?
You would have heard of Weymouth.
Okay.
Would there be a small map of the area alongside the quest board, which has lots of places you might not have heard of?
No.
Well, that feels like they could definitely add that. They have one of those little boxes with feedback forms.
Yeah.
You did see one inside the Adventuring Guild, but the last time you were in, you also noticed it went directly into a bin.
Right, that kind of feedback.
Not a bin for collection. I'm assuming a bin for
No,
trash.
Sorry,
Okay.
a trash can.
I assume. But I love that you had to use the southern accent for that too. Trash can.
A trash can. That's the one. One of them's trash cans.
Newfangled.
Oh god.
A rubbish bin.
Rubbish bin.
Rubbish.
Is there a time frame on the research one? Does it say leaving in 1 week or?
It does say urgent at the top.
Is there a time on the dragon one?
It appears to be within the next month. But the time frame that Randall would tell you from having rolled well on his history check is that these are largely they're usually quite a large gathering. They can range, historically speaking, some of them have been in the records have been as few as maybe 12 people. Some of them have been as large as many 50 people. So it's kind of like basically they just wait until they're confident that they could probably take on whatever dragon that they've pinpointed for, or they've targeted for death.
Gotcha.
Is usually what they again, this is something that Randall would describe to you, is that they would usually it's something that crops up when there is a malevolent dragon in the area. If it's a small dragon that they think they can probably handle with a few people, it takes less time. So it's hard to gauge how long it would take, but you suspect it will basically just happen when it happens.
Well, maybe we can ask about the one for the Purple Dragon Knights, and if they tell us soon, then we know we can't do the other one. But if there's time, then maybe we can do both of them.
Does the speed running one have a time frame on it?
All that says is talk to the notice poster, the person who posted the notice.
I mean, what are you thinking, Randall?
The one that is in Ankspear.
Yeah.
It's posted by Master Kulth, but is it actually are they going to be there? Is it obvious from the note?
It says specifically where to meet them. Yeah.
Yeah, but is it meeting the other guy or the
Yes.
other person?
It's not meeting Master Kulth. It's meeting Albert Humperdinck at the Cockerel Inn.
As you do.
Mhm.
I mean, we could go that way, and I think swing around
Yeah.
to the other one. But do we want to know? Do we want to find out where the loot running one is? Just
We can ask about that one.
Mhm.
Maybe it's also on the way.
Are we allowed to
maybe it's
grab all
here.
the quests?
I mean, if we take them off the board, nobody else can have them.
So we're gonna go ask about the dungeon one then. This is me going to ask about the dungeon one, apparently.
I go and ask about the dungeon. Okay. Well, walking into the Adventuring Guild, you've all been in here at some point for varying amounts of time. Haiku, you came in here to meet your first adventuring party, and you signed up with these guys. You know, there is essentially, they take a small fee for people to put up quests, and then you guys take them on and come back for your reward. In this particular instance, you've got Villette, who is behind the desk, waiting patiently. She's kind of got she's leant back in what looks like a very uncomfortable chair, kind of angled on two of its feet. Both of her feet are up on top of the desk, and she looks like she's kind of doing her nails, just kind of trimming them down a little bit. She walks in and says, "Oh, how you doing? It's been a long time. I've not seen you for a while. You're shit adventurers. You never come in and get any quests."
Oh, we were
Although
in.
you're alive, though. Maybe that makes you good adventurers. Either
were
way,
just
you're not
in-
making me much money.
Can you tell us more about the speedrun quest?
Oh, you asked about the speedrun quest.
Mhm.
I love that speedrun quest. It's such a good one. All right, so what they do every couple of years, it's not every year, it's every couple of years, they do a speed run. Right. It's up in Arabelle. Have you been to Arabelle before?
No.
I don't think so.
He pings on map.
No, definitely not.
It's great, but you need lots of money. If you go into Arabelle, it's mostly just rich people. Right.
Oh.
When you go up to Arabelle, what happens is all of the outside is shit, but the inside's really lovely. Because when you get in there, it's mostly nobles. And what they do, every couple of years, they find they've got this one long dungeon. It's called the Long Dungeon. And they retrofit it, and they fill it full of shit. And then what they do is they find two different adventuring parties at a time, send them in there.
Oh.
And then you try and get to the end as fast as you can before the other party.
Oh.
So the idea is you got to be very civil. You can't be killing the other party because that would be rude. But you can try your hardest to try and fuck with them, to make them slower and get out the way.
Hmm.
All you got to do is get to the end. Obviously, there are lots of obstacles and stuff. And what they do is they broadcast it for all the nobles to watch.
Wow.
They use all sorts of kinds of magic. That's the word I was looking for. There are all sorts of kinds of very high production.
Wow. And what do you win? What's the prize if you win?
Ah, I've got a copy of the poster just here. Can I read it out for you? Speedrun challenge in the Long Dungeon. Compete against rival adventurers to win grand prizes. Magical items, lots of loot and glory. That's what you get out of it.
Lots of loot and glory. Okay.
They don't say what magical items, though, I assume.
Well, this is quite a common poster. They send the same thing around every year, or every time they do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Wait, and when does it start?
Well, so they do it for a month.
Oh.
They do it for a month, and they keep doing it over and over for a month. It's every couple of days or so. They'll have a schedule up, and you'll be put up against whomever it is. You get put against one rival. You only get a one chance at entry.
Oh. Well.
The loot's usually pretty good because it's full of nobles. They got a lot of money. They get a lot of they sell merchandise for all of the successful parties as well.
Merchandise for? Like, to us or about us?
Well, they modeled some dolls after you and stuff like that.
Oh. I mean, that's pretty cool.
A mini haiku doll would be the ultimate collectible.
Oh no!
I pack my shell up and just go.
I did the long dungeon and all I got was this T-shirt. Exactly.
Oh man. Wasn't there a rule that we could only take one quest at a time? Or am I making that up?
Are you asking out loud or are you?
No,
Just-
this is Katie asking Tom.
Oh, there might have been, but your understanding of it during the context was, whilst we get to know you,
Gotcha. Okay.
to make sure that I'm not signing up a bunch of people who are going to go off and die, and then the quests never get done.
Yeah, okay.
Which is basically a way for me to be like, if you're low level, you're not picking up multiple quests.
That's fair.
Yeah. So the other two are like a month things. That other one's urgent.
So we can do the urgent one and then the dragon one, because that seems probably a little more important than the speedy thing. And then that one we can swing by Arabelle on the way back and see if they're still going. Or can we, if we take that one today, do we schedule the time today? Or we schedule it when we get there?
You schedule it when you get there.
Okay. We'll take those 3 then. Right?
All right, well, go outside and take them off the board, and I'll note it down that you're going to get these done. If you do, come back, let me know. Although, to be fair, I think mostly the rewards that you get from going to Weymouth and Arabelle are kind of, they speak for themselves, really. They don't tend to have much of a payout from over here. But if you do go to Annoxpear and have a look at that one, I think I've got some gold tucked away in one of our vaults for the reward there.
Okay.
Cool.
Hush, Adam, because nothing will change between now and then.
You'll
You
come
quit
back
that.
and Evelyn will have disappeared this time.
No!
Oh.
She had nothing to do with him. We found her.
You
She's
think that
ours.
she's safe?
She does have a name.
Come back and the whole of Nesmith will be gone.
It'll just be Evelyn living on the hill with Parsnip.
In
Because
a
no
small
dogs will
hut.
be harmed in the making of this campaign. She looks Tom in the eyes.
All that's happened so far is you've saved dogs. So
That's true. And bears. Well, werebears. Sometimes bears. We saved some sometimes
Occasional bears.
Occasional bears.
there you go. Tom's top
Infrequent
tips for
bears.
DMing. Make sure your characters do all of the work so you don't have to do anything. And then also get them to save cute animals occasionally. And you're golden.
Then everybody's happy.
Starting to see how that correlates with time in this campaign. Starting off with Nugget and Parsnip, and as time goes on, just more animals that you've saved.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
We've got all that space. Why not have a menagerie? Surely there's a conservatory room that we could have like a butterfly exhibit in, right? Like everybody got really excited about that. Like now we know what we're doing in spring and summer.
I was going to say, you did just remodel, but that doesn't mean you can't remodel again.
Wasn't
It's
there
not
like
an
an
adventuring
out
party, it's a rescue group.
We're just gonna run a like
An animal shelter.
Randall's home for wayward animals.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
A menagerie. It's like
A
a...
menage a what?
Not the other one.
it's the other one, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna take those 3.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, plotting a course on the map that you can see where you currently are. We'll put a little dot on Arabelle that's not purple just because consistency. And I'll put. You can put it. Do you want to put a purple one on Nesmith?
Yeah.
I mean, I could have done that, but I'm lazy.
I'm so glad that somebody else is doing the dots. I was definitely gonna do the dots. That's so fun.
Okay. So you want to go from Nesmith through Hilp, through Immersea, and you want to get to Orkspear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is it faster to travel the road or to cut from Nesmith to Immersea?
why don't you ask your resident ranger?
Oro.
Resident Ranger.
Would I know? Do I have to do a roll for this?
What we'll do is we'll have you roll. You've got proficiency in survival, correct?
No.
Guidance.
No. Okay, excellent.
But I guidance
In which
her.
case, please roll it because you are a ranger and your other proficiencies. I won't expect a high DC, but if you roll survival for me, very low DC.
Can I help in any way? Because I don't need to. Doesn't matter.
Oh, you can actually. I mean, you could give her advantage so she could roll again and see if she gets even higher. Because you took
Randall,
that road. Yeah,
I took that road, so I'd know what like the conditions alongside the road were. So I could
true.
help.
Okay. 8. Darn it.
Okay. Do you want to roll your guidance?
Was it a 4?
Yeah, D4.
3.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. You are absolutely certain, without a doubt, that it will be faster by road.
Okay.
You've never gone that way yourself, but you know a little bit about the surrounding area, mostly because of the blister trail that you took at one point, if you remember your little gnome quest that you did.
Not a gnome.
Oh no.
But so recognizing that the terrain for the blister trail across the Wyvern Flow is likely a similar sort of case, you suspect that is quite rocky, deceptively so, and that in reality of it is that cutting across there would add days to your travel. So you do suspect that if you are going to Orkspear, then this is the fastest route for you to take out of Nesmith through Hilp, through Imacy and Orkspear. Randall, would you like to do a kind of history roll just to see how much you... I mean, it's been a little while, just to see how much you recall of Imacy and Hilp?
Oh.
I was just about to say I wasn't going to require a very high roll from you to do that, because this is me asking.
You got one.
Well, you got one.
Flex. Yes. Okay. So there are two particular things that you remember about these different places. Imacy is a very quaint town that is just on the, like I said, you can see here quite clearly. It's on the corner of the Wyvern Water here. And it is chill as fuck. It is actually, you coming through there was like that was like the nicest part of your travel by a long shot. Having come through Arabelle, which is very much hoity-toity, upper class, like everything's very expensive, like you felt kind of uncomfortable there. And seeing the contrast to like the almost slums outside was very uncomfortable. Coming down through to Imacy was a lovely change because Imacy seems just like a nice little trade town. It's got some kind of seaside, kind of touristy things there as well. There's a big old statue there that's directly in the center of town with, where did I write it down? A big statue of King Azun II fighting a group of bandits. Right smack in the middle. Hilp is a very interesting little town. I say little town. It's probably even just hamlet would be the best way to call it. But it's
Quiet
bizarre.
village.
Smaller than a village.
But is every day like the one before?
Oh, is this some kind of horrible reference? Some
Little
horrible,
town full of
atrocious.
little people. No, it's Beauty and the Beast reference.
Oh, okay.
Little town, it's a quiet village. Never mind.
Oh, shit.
A compilation of all the Katie
Every day
references
is
that have
like
just
the
gone
one
completely over our head. Hilp is of note because despite being on this corner, the end of the Way of the Manticore, and this fork in the road for Kalantar's Way, it is very, very small. It is a small little village of maybe 5 buildings. But the thing that's particularly interesting about Hilp is that it resides on this massive vertical spear of rock that is just protruding out of the ground. Protruding out of the ground. Yeah, keep going. And it is extremely sheer. I wrote down just about how tall it is, and I've already forgotten. Don't know where I put it. It is about a mile high.
Bloody hell.
Significant.
No, sorry, no. It's the spire is half a mile high,
Still
which
significant.
yes, 1.6 kilometers for those of us who use kilometers.
This
Which
in
is
Hilp?
just Hilp, yes.
Okay.
Despite being on this crossroad, it's very small. But the noticeable thing about it is that it is not on the ground. It is at the very, very peak of this very, very steep. I said the word "very" too many times. Very steep spear that is just piercing the sky. It is not thick. I really don't know how to describe this without
Think
getting
that-
any more phallic.
This is going to start getting upset soon.
Oh yeah, well it's okay. He's allowed to be upset. It's a fantasy world. Love you, Adam. Mwah. It's basically as you came by, you noticed that you stayed at what was essentially a small campsite at the base of it. Down there, you saw that there was some kind of there was someone like a stall there. You arrived quite late at night. You stayed overnight, and then you left before anyone arrived. So you didn't get much of a chance to kind of take in any sights in the local area. But it looks like there's a small campsite at the bottom, this huge tower of rock, and you didn't get to go to the top of it. That's what you remember. Devil's Tower in Wyoming. Let's Google it. Ooh, that's cool.
Goes to Google.
Ah, yeah. It's the
Everybody.
place with close encounters.
That's cool.
Well, it is in Wyoming. I mean,
So no,
Isn't the
but
rest of
that's
it really
very
flat?
cool. Yeah, that particular example is very wide and flat. This particular in Hilp, it is quite thin and sharp and pointed, and I'm running out of words to describe it.
craggy, jagged.
Craggy, sure. Yeah, all right. All those words, why not?
It's
The
twice as high as
volcanic
the
neck
Burj
of a
Khalifa.
long dead volcano. Oh, that's very cool.
So if one were to scale it, perhaps they could say that they joined the half a mile high club.
Look how proud she looks. Look how proud she is of that. Whilst you were there, you noticed that there was a kind of a lift of some kind, like an elevator that's like manually operated, like a rope that you suspect is how people get up and down. You remember that there was a bunch of there were a bunch of signs there that looked like they were trying to sell something, but you can't recall what it was that was on the signs. Not because you didn't roll well, but because you as a person didn't find it interesting and didn't pay any attention to it. It looked very commercialized.
Not a good story.
Not a good place for someone who doesn't care about material things.
Mm-hmm.
Or didn't.
Doesn't.
He still only has one pair of clothes, so I think we can safely say that Randall is still not very material.
Listen, he's
Got a
thought
heavy
about
pouch
having a second.
of gold.
That's true.
We should travel by road. We should just stick to the road. It'll be quicker.
Do we want to leave today?
I can do. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I feel good today.
Yeah.
We should get some food before we go, like for the journey.
Okay.
Journey food.
Road trip.
How long is the journey?
Oh shit. Okay. It is.
You decide how long is the journey.
How long does this take?
200
Okay,
meters.
What we're gonna do is we've got our. That is. Oh, it's a little bit longer than 10, but this is a line. Get over here, you. Why won't you move? There you are.
Get over here.
Get over here.
So
That is
Oopsie.
10 miles.
2 feet is 10 miles.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50,
10,
60, probably.
20, 30, 40. About 50, 60 miles.
Okay. And you want to do the maths for how long that'll take?
I think the
You
typical
don't have horses. You're
speed
walking
in
at about there's like 3 miles an hour.
3 miles an hour. Yeah.
That's only what, 20 hours.
Distance over speed.
36-ish.
Right, for 60 miles, and you walk at
Well,
3 miles an
60,
hour.
yeah. I thought it was 50.
Yes.
Sorry, my bad.
20 hours. I rounded up because I knew those numbers would be easier.
Okay.
So about 2 days if we walk for most of the day.
Okay. So about 2 days, assuming nothing gets in the way.
Yeah, I did get attacked on these roads when I was originally coming here.
Oh. By who? What?
Just some, standard bandits.
Standard
I
bandits.
don't know what they hoped to get off me, given that I looked kind of,
Oh.
Standards.
yeah.
Standard.
Yeah, they just loved me so much that they wanted my things.
Have we seen any horses anywhere to? Can you rent horses? Can I rent a horse for a trip?
We could rent a horse. So in Nesmith.
I don't want to be that person, but Haiku would never get on a horse. or more likely, a horse would never be able to take Haiku.
What about a Clydesdale, like a really big horse? Those can be like 22 hands, like they're really
I'll
big.
say, mechanically speaking, I'm pretty sure horses could take a turtle, but if you want the canon for your particular character, I'm not going to take the narrative away from you here. Tell me.
The theme of the day.
Tom does everything he can to make no DMing done.
Yeah, no. A horse and cat would work.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Oh, we could do that.
Good-
Is that
good-
faster though than walking?
Good save there, Evan.
That would be faster.
You can probably keep going for longer.
And you
Yeah.
don't have to stop to eat because they're the ones doing the walking. Could do a horse and cart then.
Okay, can we rent a horse and cart?
So you are aware that there are farms around here, and you've seen in the market square some of the farmers are in there, and if you cast your mind back carefully, your characters will recall that there have been that there have been signs. They're selling produce, their vegetables, etc. But they also seem to have hiring out horses, kind of by the day prices. There's kind of just tacked on the side, which you suspect is because they know that they can kind of get extra money out of adventurers. And it's an adventuring town. Like I said, lots of adventurers come through here. There's quite a high turnover, so they also kind of somewhat expect their horses not to come back. So the renting prices are very high.
Mm.
However, for you guys, very high is relative, really, isn't it? It's not very high for you.
That's true.
We were talking the other day. There was a Twitter thread by somebody. What's his name? I Speak Giant or something on Twitter, I think.
Zach, yeah.
Yeah,
Zach
he did
Speaks
one of those.
Giant or whatever.
Yeah, that's the one. And he did that Twitter thread of unpopular D&D opinions or something. I think one of his replies was that he doesn't use gold in his games because it's like an economy mini game. And I think that's a fair point. I feel like having gold is kind of an integral part of D&D, but I like to minimize its use as much as possible. Apart from big purchases. Basically.
Sorry, Kauai just tipped £4.20 for the campaign funds of Nugget for PM. Thank you. Seriously. Thank you.
You're a very good egg, Kawaifu. Very good egg.
Thank you.
420. Thank you very much, because we were just talking about this earlier, actually, about the D&D funds and stuff. Because the last couple of days I've just been pouring over Patreons and stuff, just looking for like very specific maps, and it's just there's a lot to go through, a lot of maps to buy.
If you need specific maps and it's not something that needs to be kept secret, I have a map making thing and can make some.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Bryce got me Dungeon Draft for making maps for the podcast that I DM for. Dungeons and Gamers.
Sponsored.
So if there's something that you can't find and it's not gonna like ruin something to tell me like what you need made, I can make one.
Okay, cool. For the most part, I'm very happy to use the ones that actually is kind of great for me, because going through different Patreons and stuff and finding maps is really helpful for coming up with inspiration for quests. Like you'll find a particular a particular map, and you'll be like, "Oh, I want to use this. Oh, how would this fit in? Oh, okay." And I've constantly come up with quests because of maps that I've found. So I really do that. I like browsing them. But it is also I'm very thankful to our chat for contributing to the D&D fund, because it allows me to pay artists whose work we use. Based on rules as written, unless you are switching out horses every 1 to 2 hours, walking and horses are the same speed. Then why horses? Oh, horses can carry stuff. Ah.
Fergus
like
Bog.
more horses, so you can go faster.
Fergus Bog tipped £10 and said, "Very specific map fund."
Fergus Bog. Fergus Bog is a character from Dungeons and Games.
I was going to say, I think I recognize that name. Thank you. That's very sweet.
Thank you very much.
Very specific map fund. Hey, Freaky.
Hey, Freaky. And messenger stations. But if you can change out horses every 1 to 2 hours, you can travel 8 to 10 miles per 1 hour. Oh, okay. Speaking of Patreon, oh wait, that would have been a perfect shameless plug. Let's perfectly shamelessly plug Jenny's Patreon, because she'll never do it. Jenny has a Patreon and does lots of cool art stuff that you can get stickers for every month.
I always forget to go do that. I'm doing that right now.
Oh, no.
I'll be honest, my favorite thing to come out of Jenny's Patreon is that, so I used to be able to do the custom doodles, which was amazing, because the custom doodles, you can just be like, hey, I want this today. And then at some point, this image will materialize and it'll always be amazing. And we got all of the stuff, like you see the little like faces and stuff that have been doodled on our, the avatars and things. We had little business cards made for each of our characters, and it was fucking awesome.
Oh, I need to make Haiku a business card.
Oh, shit, that'd be good.
Never had a business card.
So you got the little printout. Wait, what does the bottom text say again?
It says like only one festering wound.
Yeah,
right?
only one
Only
festering
one
wound,
festering wound. Oh, the good old days.
So good.
Just one.
And,
You get an updated business card.
My favorite thing that comes out of Jenny's Patreon at the moment is the digital sketchbooks. I might be biased because every week that you do them now.
Yeah.
Every week.
I should have done one today. It's Sunday.
There's a little page of doodles that come out. They're extremely good. But yeah. If you have spare change lying around and you fancy supporting small businesses, that's a good place to put your money. But Jenny will never promote herself, so we have to do it for her. Okay. Anyway, away from business talk. So the fuck were we talking about? Sometimes we play D&D.
Horses and carts.
Mostly
horses
it's you
are pointless.
guys. Horses. Oh yes, horses are pointless. They help you carry stuff.
Why did anyone even bother in D&D world with horses?
If the horse and cart
Encumbrance.
idea is getting nerfed, could Haiku
Getting nerfed.
tinker around with some stuff to
Oh, tinkered
speed
horse.
it up? Obviously not
That's
with the
a rocket
horses
horse.
themselves, but
What?
could
What?
make a- Never mind, I won't talk.
well,
Does Jack know about horses?
About horses?
Yeah, because you said you're tinkering with the horse.
No, not with the horse.
Oh, the cart. I was so confused.
Jack, no,
at
no,
how you
no,
might
no.
tinker with a horse. I was thinking I don't know. I misheard. Just ignore me. Keep going.
Haiku is going to invent an armored personnel carrier.
No, nothing like that. You know, there's...
What are you thinking?
I was thinking, that makes sense to tinker with a horse by making a high energy sweet feed is what I was going to suggest if you didn't know much about horses, but never mind. You tinker with the cart. That makes way more sense.
I was suggesting a rocket-powered horse. But...
Did you say a rocket? What?
Rocket, yeah. Strap a rocket either side of the horse.
Yeah, I was actually going to go down that route. Not rocket. No.
Doesn't have to be a horse. It could be anything, really. Just
Haiku does have a flamethrower. Just stick it at the back. Just give it a bit of a push.
No flaws with this plan.
Did you have any less silly ideas?
Wow. It's yes and is how it works.
Masterclass in D&D today, guys. Wow.
We're learning a lot.
Yes and.
That's what happens if you let your players have too much control.
Gotta rein it back in. We gotta come back to this.
I know you told us to write the narrative, so Haiku could definitely improve upon the bearing system. And make reduce the friction on the wheels. Totally
make it more comfortable for the horses, like the harnesses and stuff like that, just to improve the general ride.
I feel like you could probably come at it from an engineering perspective and find that kind of you could tinker with some stuff that you feel like you're making small improvements. Functionally, however, nothing's going to change. If a horse is the same speed as walking, then a horse is the same speed as walking, unless you have a particular an infusion.
I'm sorry, I was drawing and I leant on my keyboard and apparently I've done that in chat. I'm so sorry. I was drawing.
I did wonder, but I didn't have time to read what was in chat. I just saw a bunch of dots. I was I'm sure that's going to be juicy when I get a chance to read it. It's just lent on
sorry,
keyboard.
It's just lent on the keyboard.
Okay. Okay. Horses don't get tired if they are powered by rockets.
It's true. You can also get them.
Can't argue with that logic.
If you get multiple horses and then they walk over each other.
Oh, like caterpillars.
Pull the cart. Like caterpillars.
Yeah, like caterpillars.
They go faster.
Yeah.
They go faster overall than the individual horse.
Yeah, I saw that gif earlier.
And they can carry lots of weight, so it totally works because that's why horses.
Genius. That's it.
Otherwise,
we write D&D now. This is it. This is what happened.
I think Haiku can make it happen. Some kind of conveyor belt system. Or...
Well, otherwise, why horses? Because horses, are good for
carry other horses.
Difficult terrain if you don't have a ranger. And you can use them in combat as a mount. And will carry heavy things. I guess you could also do other things whilst you're on a horse. Listen, I wasn't
eating. You don't have to take breaks and stuff, so you can travel.
Tinkering. Tinkering. Fucking.
I mean, I don't tinker, but I imagine.
I imagine.
I'm definitely going to be in the back of the cart with the little weaving apparatus and weaving while we're traveling. The thing that's gonna happen now. Since we don't have to walk.
Are you getting horses? Because you don't have horses at the moment.
I thought we were getting a horse and cart. That's what we were going to look to see what the prices were.
We've been talking about that for quite some time now.
Yes, we would like to know what the prices for a horse and cart might be.
Let's find
out. If it doesn't speed us up, is it really worth it?
I thought that you wanted... Wait, who wanted...
Well, I suggested it because I thought it'd be quicker. But if it is actually not quicker...
Turns out horses suck.
Yeah. Then maybe we shouldn't.
Okay, we can just walk then.
Also,
Yeah.
we have to hire someone to walk the horses away before we abandon them and they die.
That is a consistent issue in all of our D&D games so far. When you get horses, where do they go when you mysteriously teleport away from the dungeon that you're in? You just leave them behind, or you
Yeah,
get
right.
the B team to go and collect them.
Okay, maybe no horses yet until we have a B team that can collect our horses.
So we're famous enough to have a B team.
Everyone just gets a squire that just deals with the horse.
Yeah.
And when we disappear and go somewhere and we don't come back, we're like, if we don't come back after 3 days, just take the horses home. We'll walk if we.
That's what Kentucky was for.
I was gonna say,
Literally hired someone to do
Wait,
that.
I forgot about Kentucky because I remember when y'all said his name and I was like, Kentucky, oh no. Oh my goodness.
you hire adventurers to retrieve horses. That's what we did in our last campaign. We literally, I had a group of my more American friends. I say that because they have very vastly horrible time zone differences compared to Katie. Where we just wanted to get a game together. We had a B team of much lower level guys. There was supposed to be a one shot that never ended after 4 sessions. Where they were supposed to go back to a particular city where these guys were no longer welcome, retrieve the horses, do another bit of a quest thing there, and come back. But it never happened because we got time zoned, as is the case with most games internationally played. We're very lucky to get Katie on Sundays. 4 sessions
Very
sounds like
lucky. Oh.
it was not only a one shot that was like, you see most one shots are like carefully crafted to be 1 session. I vastly overcrafted this. There was way too much. Honestly, oh my god, I had no idea how long it was going to take. Long. But they didn't get to any of the good stuff, so I can reuse it for this campaign.
We gonna find the
that any of
horses?
people who were in that game would have done watched it. No, all the cool stuff that was in it. You'll get to it. You'll get to it. It'll happen. I'll let you know if we get there.
When horses suddenly start showing up one night.
There was a particular map that I had saved away for that I rediscovered today and actually put in my D&D notes to use it for this campaign.
Oh.
So we'll use it for there.
Katie, thank you for becoming a patron. That was very sweet of you.
But where did you do that, Kate?
I love it. I love it so much. What a good game of no D&D we've played today. My goodness.
It means you have to cram as much into the last hour as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go to the market and we're going to get some not poor adventurer rations, and then we're going to make our way.
So we're not doing horses.
I thought that's what we decided.
Yeah, no horses. Put the foot down. No, horses. It's
No
too much
horses.
hassle. Not quick. All right. No horses.
No horses.
Maybe
Too much
another
hassle,
time.
not quick.
we spent so much of our money on getting the house remodeled. I think like we're no longer quite as flush anymore. And if it's not going to save time, then yeah.
You're right. You're right.
That's fair. That's fair. This session will be named the Great Horse Debate.
You know what? I'm just glad that we talked this long about horses, and then it was just about like getting from one place to another.
Excuse me? 2 things, all right? First off, the horse erotica meme was just for the last campaign.
It has
right?
come up in this campaign as well. It has.
Second, I actually wrote some horse fanfic recently.
Of course.
If
Some
you want to
more.
read, which I think would be, I'm quite happy with it.
It was actually very good.
It's in Jenny's Discord. However, the context for it is that Jenny's horse in Stardew, Killer Bella, recently got an eye patch instead of a hat. So I wrote a backstory as to why Killer Bella now has an eye patch instead of a hat.
That is a lot more wholesome than what I thought you meant when you said
I said
fanfic.
horse erotica was last campaign, horse fanfic was this campaign.
Okay.
But it was
We'll
very
never
fun
went
to,
to
it
that
was,
now.
It was very fun to write. Anyway. So, on foot. We've left Nesmith. We've picked up some supplies. Please take, like, I don't know, a couple of gold pieces out of your inventory. We're not here to do economy.
Not in this economy.
But we managed to get ourselves out of Nesmith. Finally, you give Evelyn a goodbye, and give Parsnip a good pat. Maybe sneak him some treats that you picked up in town.
Did we spend all the 1,200 gold that we had earned on fixing up the house?
No idea is what I mean. I don't remember.
Okay. If we haven't left her money
Best
to
DM.
manage the house with, then I'm gonna leave her like 10 gold to manage. Like, it's not like we pay like rent or anything like that. So
Sure.
I'm gonna leave her some money so she
Okay.
has it.
Okie dokie.
Apparently, I have 40 GP of gems left still as well.
Oh,
Oh, you lucky.
are there
Don't
any
like resources.
diamonds in there? Actually, I meant to ask about that.
I don't know. Are these diamonds?
Jack, could you put that link in Twitch chat so that everyone can see that thing that you just put in the D&D shit channel on Discord?
Shit, where's chat? There we are.
Okay, so when it comes to having gems that are the equivalent of X much money, feel free to just straight up convert that into gold when you do your inventory management. Unless you would prefer to have the flavor, so that you can be like, well, I don't have 50 gold, but I do have this fancy looking shiny gem. That's completely down to how you want to play D&D. I'm not gonna
Well,
lawyer
diamonds
that.
I specifically will need
Yes,
eventually.
I was specifically referring to Randall's
Okay.
baggage there. But when it comes to diamonds and stuff like that, then yes, of course, if you're casting spells that have those as a material component that will be consumed, the only instance of material components that I have any interest in are when you are without your spell focus, which is pretty much never, or when it is a component that is consumed by it and it's got a value.
Yeah.
Um,
So no diamonds in that 40 GP.
Yes, so if you want to go poking around to find a diamond so that you can afford a particular spell, that is something you're going to have to look into.
Okay.
Just because I like the idea of actually having to have some forethought for very specific, powerful spells, I think that's kind of cool. Okay. Randall's package can directly be converted into gold.
Nice.
Accepted at every store.
So that means there will be more horse fan fiction before next year. Listen, Sarah, I told you the other day, all right? I'm all spent on writing about horses. I actually did. I as a joke, I did write some like a couple of years ago during the last campaign, and I rammed it full of horse puns. But I don't know about horses, so it was just me looking up horse terminology and then just ramming it in as much as I can.
That was what the story was about.
Just ramming it in.
You know what? Actually, the idea for that piece of work was that you're gonna get insight into my DM mind, right?
Excellent.
The B team in the last campaign would go to the marketplace, and it was at Cliff Harbor, find a bookseller who was selling. She was peddling her own fan fiction, her own writing, which was this horse erotica. They would read the extract, and then it would essentially say something. So if you read between the lines, which no one did, that would essentially say the person writing this is insane and has captured someone in their basement. And I had this whole subquest about how the author had trapped a noble in her cellar. And of course no one saw between the lines because that's insane. Nobody would ever think to read between the lines on that. But it was that's an insight into my DM brain.
So
my
always
DM
read
brain
between the lines.
add extremely detailed extra shit that no one will ever get to, and then when people start reading between the lines where there is nothing to read between the lines, be very panicked. Okay.
It's 9 p.m. Can we have a bio break?
Yes, I forgot those exist. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, quick bio break. Go stretch, go pee, go get a drink, whatever you need to do.
Yep.
That is
Our
all.
bio breaks tend to be get up, go toilet, come back. We don't have long breaks.
Get up, go toilet, get back.
Get up, go toilet, get back.
That's what they say.
Oh, I don't need a wee now, but I feel like if I don't go now, I'm gonna need one in the next like hour. Tom has evolved beyond his need for bio. That's exactly right. I've ascended. Go poop so you can sleep later. What? Is that a preparation that you have to make? Can Tom switch PhD thesis to horses? I can't imagine that being much of a contribution to science or culture or anything. You didn't say that you were spent, actually. It was more that if someone would spend money on you, you would write more. Hey, if someone wants to pay me to write more horse fan fiction, I'll do it. All right. It's stupid, and it's not worth anyone's time or money. But there's a limit to how much horse fan fiction that I will write without getting paid for it. Tom's Horse Fanfic Patreon. Shall I set that one up? Okay. Tom better pony up for Tom's fanfics. That's very good. Pay me $1 million and I will even illustrate you some horse erotica. What the fuck? Listen, I'm not writing any horse erotica. Okay. Additionally, when I say horse erotica for the last one, it wasn't actually erotica. It was a romance novel. Not novel. It was like it was like less than a page. It was like 3 or 4 paragraphs. That was just I took people and then made them horses. And then I shoved in a bunch of horse puns. The horse puns were my favorite bit by far. Although the next favorite bit was shoehorning in a D&D subplot into the leaving breadcrumbs of the author of this has someone tied up in her basement. It was quite fun. We've just come to Tom's calling, writing young adult books. Sounds like a gateway drug towards ponydom, Tom. Listen, if people are paying money for it. $1 million is like 20 million pesos. I could buy 40 houses for 5 people here. Fucking hell. That's going to get you a visit from your uni's ethics board. Fucking hell. They're very thorough. My uni's ethics board have put me through some fucking hoops. Being that my PhD is on pain, it's not something that the school that I'm within is even remotely like used to. So when they saw pain in my study ethics form, they were like, "What? You're gonna do what to who?"
What happened?
I don't know. I got back to the end of that too.
I was like, thank you, Bush.
Good bun. That is a good bun. You got a good bun going on there, Jack.
It fallen out.
You had a good bun going on there, Jack. Everyone's got good hair today, apart mine's too fluffy. But look, we've got a bunch of blue over here. Jenny's just dyed her hair again.
Let's put the pink back in. It needs cutting though.
Mine's purple on the top. I'm trying to get this blue to finally go away and be purple, but I don't know that it'll ever actually look purple on camera, so you'll probably never be able to tell.
I've been quietly thinking about purchasing a new camera myself, just so it's got like some software or something where I can edit its settings without it like constantly changing contrast and stuff. Because if I notice it doesn't bother me because like the only time I'm ever on camera really is for either teaching or D&D, and who gives a fuck about teaching like what I look like when I'm doing that. But if I like come forward on this and then like suddenly I'm like super red, then I go back over here and I'm super bright, it's just like annoying as shit.
Hmm.
Look at all the people.
But they've marked up webcam prices so much, though. You
Oh,
have to
yeah.
wait
Yeah.
for something to, like a sale or something.
Yeah. Fuck that. Never mind. We're dealing with the horrible auto settings. Deal with it.
Sorry.
I changed it so that I unticked the auto thing, and I set the bar directly where it had been set by the auto thing, and then it like fucking quartered the amount of FPS I was getting from my camera. It's like a slideshow.
Mm.
It's a lot of work having a shit web camera,
A hard life.
but it's a lot of work buying a fancy one, or use an old DSLR and a cheap AliExpress USB
Capture card.
compute?
Capture
card. You think I have an old DSLR?
Yeah, you do. Everyone does. Everyone has an old DSLR lying
Just
around
get
the.
just get your old DSLR out. You know, just whap that bad boy out. I would like to, if I ever live somewhere where the internet isn't fucking terrible, and if I ever, I'm never actually going to take streaming seriously. Just to clarify, if you're new here, this isn't my channel, even though I'm talking a lot.
Are you talking a lot? You keep making us do a lot of the work.
Yeah, only in the D&D. We're not playing D&D at the moment. It's just me talking. It would be really cool to have like a fancy camera that properly focuses on you and blurs out all the shit in the background and stuff, without having to do like
pretty.
zoom fucking backgrounds.
Mm.
I have a Nintendo DS. I love the idea of setting that one up. That's as your camera. I found an ancient webcam still sealed in the box whilst recycling tech this week. What? Cool.
Damn.
Someone who spent a lot of his equipment. Spent a lot of his equipment on his equipment.
Yeah.
Nothing ever works properly. I feel like the more
On
you spend,
his equipment.
Yeah, I feel like the more that you spend on equipment, the more tech issues you're going to have with compatibility and stuff.
True.
Or you can just have cheap shit that looks terrible, but plug and play.
Plug and complain about how shitty it is.
Way better. But I do have an old DSLR camera from when I was in. All right, Tortu. Can people stop flexing about their old DSLR cameras?
Canon, 12 months. Holy shit,
Oh,
still
yeah.
fresh and fun. That's what we say around here. Fresh and fun. Thank you, Canon. It was very sweet of you.
Okay. Should we get back to some D&D?
Yeah.
Okay, back to the Tom.
So
not
we're gonna get
talking,
some
you guys
horses.
doing all the work.
No, I'm kidding. We got food.
Oh, okay. We're on the road. Is what we are. And as I said before, the skies are looking awfully cloudy. Very, very dark clouds looming over from the west.
Foreboding. Looming.
They are foreboding and looming on the horizon. You get out of Nesmith, and we're all on the right page, yeah. Out of Nesmith, on the road, the way of the Manticore, and make your way towards Hilp. Well, how long did we say it was going to take you to get there? It was like 2 days in total.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So it's probably going to be like, realistically, you stop at Hilp, and then you stop at Immersea, and then you've got a day in Orksby. Or what do you think?
Yeah.
Seems about right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fantastic. The path out of Nesmith onto the Way of the Manticore is almost always dead silent. It's just peaceful. You'll see maybe a couple of other people on the road who are, coming in and out. But when you do see them, it's the best you get is a friendly wave or some tarts for sale. As you are on the road, this particular instance, you have once again seen nobody. It's not the first time, and it won't be the last time that you've been walking along this road, and just it's been dead quiet. However, as you merge onto the Way of the Manticore, the road becomes a little bit more stable, and you see a couple of people coming out of the direction of Hilp out from the west. They look drenched. They look absolutely sodden. And before you even get a chance to speak to the first person that you see, they are gone. You see that there's one particular rider who has a wagon that they are hitched to, that they are taking along the road, and they don't stop. You can't see them because they've got a kind of like a helmet on their head, but you can see that even their like cloak is just absolutely sodden to the core. The horse that they're on looks absolutely shattered, and they are just pelting it down the road. Can anyone give me a perception check, please? You get 2. Pick wisely.
Ooh.
How does everyone feel about when we just need to do a roll and then we all just say what stats we have? Is that okay? It kind of feels a bit rude every time that we're like, okay.
Maybe the people with the highest perception are the most likely to see it because they got the highest perception.
Yeah, that makes sense actually.
Okay. Oh, Jack, Jesus Christ.
Actually, how many
Plus
people
8.
here have
Eyes?
proficiency? Proficiency in
I've got
perception?
proficiency in it.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so maybe what we should do is rather than having the limit to 2, perhaps what we should do is that everyone who has
It's
proficiency
just
gets to roll.
exclude me.
Everyone who has proficiency, because I've made it very clear that my outlook on passive perception's a bit wank, but that I want to reward you for having proficiency. So in this particular instance, I think it makes sense for people who have proficiency to have the opportunity to notice things that otherwise wouldn't be noticed unless you told me specifically that you were looking for them. So with a 28 out the gate from Haiku, you're the only person to notice this, but there appears to be a wound on the horse and some damage to the wheel of the cart, one of the wheels. You can also see that it's like a proper wagon that's got like a cloth over the back. That has also been torn somewhat. But you barely get a chance to even notice this because as they come careening towards you off of the horizon, they are gone just as fast. They go right past you and they have no intention of stopping.
Did I have enough time as the cart went by to prestidigitate most of their cloak back dry? Because that's why I wasn't paying attention. I was like, poor thing, they're so wet. Drying them off.
What's the range on that?
I think it's 30 feet. Let me look.
Yes, then yeah, sure.
Drive by drying.
Oh, just kidding. It's 10 feet. Which is 20 feet in diameter. So I had 20 feet of movement to work with. Then I can cast 3 at a time.
I mean, for texture. Oh, fucking
Get the
Flavor?
I hate words. Flavor. God.
It's texture to the narrative. That makes sense.
Texture to the narrative.
Texture
Why
works.
not? For flavor,
You
sure.
can say things are gritty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's enough to come of anything. I feel like that's why she got distracted. Was like, oh my god, they look horrible.
Yeah, that's why I have
Dry
no
them
interest in being particular about the rules here. You're just doing it for the sake of RP, and that's fine with me. For bench, exactly. So yes, you're distracted somewhat by just how fucking sodden they are. But Haiku notices a few extra details that the rest of you do not.
Did anyone else see the wagon bit damaged and that half of the certainly looked wounded?
What?
A bit
Oh
concerning.
no, I didn't see that.
No,
No.
I didn't even see the horse.
So fast.
I wish I'd noticed that instead of just how wet their cloak looked. Darn.
No, the horse was moving at the same speed as us. Can't be going fast.
You're
Oh
right.
yeah, that's how horses work.
As I mentioned when I was describing it, it was going especially fast. It was galloping, whereas when traveling on a horse, you would be walking on the horse.
Well, no, the horse is walking. You sit on the horse normally. You don't normally walk on the horse.
What type of wind did a horse have? I tried to continue.
You lose an inspiration point, Randall.
Oh no.
Oh, I actually have one for once.
You don't lose one. Yeah, so there was a gaping wound along the flank of the horse. Blood pouring out, spilling almost.
Well, I
However,
pass on that information.
You did notice, however, that I just remembered that your roll was especially high. There were two different types of damage to the wagon. The first was that the cloth had been ripped and torn, but the second looked a lot like you could only describe it as if it had been struck by lightning. There is a very clear burn mark across where you think there is probably there was like a wooden pin, like a metal pin or something, in the chassis.
I pull out the pamphlet, assuming he says this, or assuming they say this.
Yeah.
Okay. I pull out the pamphlet talking about the dragon from the Purple Dragon Knights. Does it say what color the dragon is?
No.
Did it look like a dragon attacked them?
I haven't a clue. Looked nasty, whatever it was.
Shit.
Maybe we should do that one first.
Do dragons normally make everything really wet?
I mean, they could have been just really unlucky and struck by lightning. No, if it's been.
There are clouds on the horizon.
Yeah, but it'd be very unlucky.
Would that describe the wound that the horse had, though? Lightning?
No idea. Can't say I've can't say I've really seen a lightning wound before. At least not up close.
Maybe it is just a bad storm. Can we see, like, in the distance, like where it looks like the storm is like off that way?
Absolutely. So as I said, the sky is now very dark where you are, and in fact, from where you are, kind of merging onto the way of the Manticore, you can just about, if you properly scan out at the horizon, see the outline of the spear Hilp, the massive rock formation. Only because it's like you're really like if you're really looking out for it. In fact, most likely only Noeli and Randall would even know that it's there. So maybe Oro and Haiku, if you hadn't had this discussion, would know that Hilp is this big towering.
I mean,
stone
it's so
formation.
tall you would see it from like most of Cormier, I think.
However, it's also extremely thin. So it is, once you get to a certain point, just kind of like just fades out into nothingness. I'm enjoying the immersive D&D experience as the weather is slowly becoming stormy here. Oh,
Ooh.
Oh, protect your horses.
We think we can make it to Hilp by the time the storm hits?
From where you're looking, it looks like Hilp is pretty much in the center of it.
The
eye of the storm. I also don't want to be on a huge spire in a storm, especially if it's windy.
True. Well, what do you want to do then? Just avoid Hilp completely, or do you want to carry on and stay on the road, or what?
I am covered in a lot of metal, so I would rather avoid it.
How far from the mansion are we? How far have we been?
5 minutes down the road.
Half a day.
Oh, okay. It's just like, yeah, I've only been traveling 5 minutes. I will just go tomorrow.
It's fine. Yeah.
We could just make camp here and get an early start tomorrow.
So is it the evening now? Because it was...
Just after lunch.
Oh.
Or try to wait out the storm.
Yeah, does it look like the storm is moving? Has it moved? Because I assume we've been able to see it for quite a while.
Give me a perception check.
I get to participate.
Oh, and he gets a good one as well. Yes and no. It's spreading, but you've noticed
Right.
that there actually may be that because Hilp seems to be in the center of it, and that has been the case since the start. But it's spreading.
But it's like going outwards.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
Look on the ground, and you perceive any rails on the ground? Follow those. All right, Malkavir.
Spreading like naturally spreading or spreading like unnaturally spreading?
Depends. Does Randall point it out to you? I mean, then can you roll some kind of nature check?
So as Rand's about to go, like, I'm pretty sure it's been like growing, and so if we try and wait, it's just we're gonna have to walk through more storms. It'd be better if we got through it sooner rather than later. Assuming it doesn't just go away. It's been like the whole time we've been walking, I've seen it. It's been slowly getting bigger, but it hasn't moved. It's just been like growing outward.
Is it growing? So that's the question. I guess she's asking Randall then. Is it growing like a storm, like moving normally grows? Or is it growing like somebody's causing it?
It's like spreading out but it's still centered on Help.
Guess we should keep going then.
Yeah.
Maybe we could cut across the corner of it rather than walking all the way into the center and out. We could cut like. It might be slower, but then.
Yeah, but we'd avoid it. Yeah. Do I think it would be that bad to cut this corner with my ranger eyes?
What is your favorite terrain, or do you even have that?
I think it's forest. Yeah, it's forest. My favorite terrain.
I mean, we're pretty close to a forest.
That's pretty much a forest.
So, wait a second, let's just have a look. This line, you're at the end of this big red line, right? Because you've just merged on. That's 10 miles. So you are just over 10 miles away from nearest forest.
Yeah, that's like nothing when you're a ranger.
In the scale of the universe, that's like basically on top of each other.
Yeah.
You're fairly certain that, I mean, you could skip it. You could cut through. But as I said before, the terrain here is not super friendly. However, fortunately for your companions, you being a ranger means that it would affect you way, way less than it would affect any other party. But I mean, depending on where the storm goes, who can say whether or not you're going to be spending more or less time in the storm?
Yes, storms tend to cover a whole area, not just the roads. So I feel like if we tried to cut through, we'd probably just end up in a storm off the road.
Maybe we should go back and get a horse. This might be a better idea.
Storms tend to cover the whole area, not just the road. Oh, that was funny.
All right, let's go the normal roadway and just put a step on it, I guess. And if we need to, we can go off
Is
the
that
road,
circus talk? Put a step on it.
Oh yeah, what does that mean?
It means get it going, you know?
Yeah.
Get it going?
Get it going? Yeah, get it going. You get that? That makes sense?
Yeah.
Contextually.
As you're having this discussion, drizzle starts to pour on you.
Oh.
Ah, shit.
I love that I have a normal cloak. So like if it rains, my cloak gets damp, but my dress doesn't because it can't get dirty. So like I'm dry under the wet cloak. It almost feels like pointless to have it in a like if it rains hard, but keeping it obviously because it's pretty.
I have a D&D question. Do umbrellas exist in D&D?
Yes.
I would have liked to have a circus umbrella from the circus that I would have just had.
I will accept this on one condition.
Hmm.
It must be themed about one particular person in the circus.
Okay,
or,
that was the plan. Yeah.
Or for the circus, depending on whatever you want to do. And I'd like to see a doodle of it.
That's what I was just about to do. That's what I asked before I was doing it. I drew an outline of an umbrella. I was like, I should ask first.
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay.
But you're the only person that has one.
And it's a child's umbrella as well, so
So it barely covers Oro, that's it.
I like to think that umbrellas exist in this particular incarnation of the Forgotten Realms, but they're not like anywhere near as, not even remotely close to as commonplace as you would find them here.
It's like a leaf on a
in
stick.
in real world. It's like, well, no, like I think that, you know, the mechanics of making an umbrella wouldn't be so like insane. It's just that the people who have the means and the know-how would be, they're not mass produced.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I have an excellent question for Oro.
Mhm.
What is the umbrella made out of?
Fuck.
Umbrella.
Umbrella
obviously.
material.
Okay, so is it like a metal handle and
No,
then
I
like
think
maybe
it's-
like paper fans?
I think there's it's like, you know what tents are, like a circus tent would be made out of? It's just like tent material,
Canvas.
basically.
Okay,
Yeah, so it's just canvas.
so it's more like a metal handle with a canvas material that comes out like this.
Yeah, that goes around.
Yep. There it is.
If it starts raining really hard, can Nugget just walk with their wings out and we'll just hug on Nugget?
Yes.
How
How,
does
how
Nugget
tall
feel
is
about
Oro?
3.5 foot, I think.
Okay. See,
Probably safe from lightning then.
well, also, could Oro get on Haiku's shoulders or shell and protect Haiku's head with the umbrella too, in exchange for, not having to use your legs?
Yes.
How tall is Haiku?
Tall.
But
Over
the
6 foot.
trees are taller. It's fine.
Yeah.
What trees?
We're not in a forest.
Okay, so we're making it double time to. Well, there could be trees even if we're not in a forest. But we're making it double time to Hilp. The Hilp. Is that the place? Hilp.
Yeah.
Hild?
Yeah.
Hilp.
So we've got Brolly up. We've got everyone on foot. You just kind of
Raleigh.
Like,
Is that a normal word? Or did you
Yeah.
make that up? Okay.
I came up with Brolly. I wish I had. Man, think of the money I'd be rolling in. You're basically kind of power walking towards Hilp. Okay, fantastic. So
The bitch
double
doesn't
time-
run, but she might just power walk. Sorry, go ahead.
So we are power walking towards Hilp. We've just had our friendly or unfriendly rider pass us, had a bit of a pause as we were walking along, brought the brolly out as it starts to rain. And as you get closer, it does seem to be that you are going closer and closer to the center of the storm. The rain is getting harder. It's starting to, rather than just be a gentle pitter-patter on top of the umbrella, it's starting to rain quite hard now. You can hear the plink plonk, plink plonk, plink plonk, plink plonk of what sounds like something on Haiku's back collecting water, which is annoying to everyone but Haiku, unless you tell me otherwise.
It's actually sending Oro to sleep a little bit because she's just on Haiku's head, just
Getting that thing from like a car where like the like gentle like motion of the car just like rocks you to sleep.
yeah.
And like I said, it's starting to get kind of heavier and heavier. It gets to a moment where you can hear a large as there is a rumble of thunder through the clouds above you. And we get to probably, a couple of miles out of Hilp now. We're seeing this giant spear piercing the clouds. And who has the highest intelligence here?
Probably Haiku.
Definitely not
Haiku.
Oro.
Do you have nature as any of your skills? Does anyone have nature proficiency?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I don't.
Okay. Can we get a nature check from Jack, please? Nature intelligence. Is nature normally
Nature's intelligence.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I just make double checking. Okay. So what you are noticing is that there are many storm clouds, and they appear to be centered around Hilp. Something that notices you and strikes you as quite odd is that the clouds seem to be much lower than you would expect any of the lowest clouds that you've ever seen, really. Being that you've not seen Hilp before, but with the combined knowledge of Randall, knowing that it is about half a mile high, that's much lower than the lowest clouds would go. So the fact that the tip or the top of this this big old pointy rock formation is covered in cloud, and they are all very black, it seems quite unusual to you.
I convey that information to the party.
What? Troubling? What are we doing? What are we doing? Do we need to cut a corner? Do we need to go back and get a horse?
I was wondering if the storm looked normal or not. Is this something that, okay, actually, I guess this is like a question that I have for Tom. If I would know if there are people here who generally do this, like, are there some druids around here that like making sure they get plenty of rainfall or anything like that I've heard of or encountered before? I guess not encountered, but heard of.
I will take a history roll from you, but you will have to roll very high.
Okay. I think really hard in my guidance myself.
Mm-hmm. What's your modifier for history?
0. Oh, nope. I'm not even going to roll. Nope, we're good. It's fine. I don't know anything.
Cloud Facts would like a word, Adam. What would they like a word about? Because I made sure to Google the lowest clouds when I made up the number of how high Hilp was. So my 20-second Google. Fog doesn't count. Okay. Yes, unfortunately, that is not a good number to roll. Have you played D&D before? Are you familiar with that?
I am intimately familiar with rolling poorly, and so...
Fog of clowns. Listen here, motherfucker. Anyway.
So the little thing that's on the inside of the earphone, the little like mesh is missing, and I think it might be in my ear. I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
Oh.
That's great.
Yeah, don't go poking around in there. Jack has recently discovered that that's a bad idea.
Yeah, turns out, yeah. Who'd have thought it?
Weird.
Anyway, continue.
But it's getting stormy out here, fellas and fellasses, as we start to get closer and closer to Hilp. You can see now, just in the distance, the base of this large stone tower, but you can also see that there is another wagon that is stationary in the road. You can hear another rumble of thunder, and then almost immediately there is a huge crash as a lightning bolt careens out of the sky, slams into the ground right next to the wagon directly in front of you. A couple seconds later, and another one falls out of the sky, lands on the ground, and just blows dirt.
Is that one
The
also
second
near the
one?
wagon? Sorry, go ahead.
Very near the wagon. What was that? Was that the same question?
Yeah.
Is there anyone on the wagon?
Roll me a perception check.
That I am good at. 15.
You can see that there is a figure who has just bolted themselves out of the wagon. They've fallen to the dirt, and they appear to be running directly in your direction, really.
I'm beginning to think that this storm might be created by a person, and maybe we should go and see if they're up to no good.
Oh.
Because that person's running, and we already passed somebody who was running away.
Help! Oh God! Oh God! Help me, please! Please help me!
Was the person running at us? Okay,
What's happening?
They are far. You can just distantly hear them screaming.
Wow.
walk a little faster.
Yeah, wait patiently.
Wait patiently. As you get a little bit closer, you can see that they are panic running. They are screaming for their life. Their arms are flailing desperately, and on multiple occasions they fall to the ground, and get back up again. As it feels almost as another another strike of lightning comes out of the sky and lands in the ground, casting dirt everywhere, that it's following this particular individual. You can see as they get closer and closer to you that they are sopping wet, as are you now, as you are completely drenched in this rain. Apart from Oro, who has a nice little umbrella. The kind of, you are all just, the mud and the dirt beneath you is just now absolutely drenched. And this particular individual is covered in a long robe coat that they've got. You can just about see, some kind of normal peasant clothes. I don't want to have to describe every peasant that we come across, who is just running as fast as they can to get towards you. And yes, the lightning appears to be following them.
Do you know what's happening here?
Are you asking the person who's running?
Mm-hmm.
Help me, please! Please help me, fuck! Sorry, I did try to cover my mouth, but I guess I'm quite close. Let me move that away.
At least for New Year. I don't think they know what's happening.
No, doesn't seem it.
They kind of almost get to your feet at this point, and you're just kind of confusedly like, the fuck is going on here? As the next bolt of lightning strikes 20 feet in front of you. Mud everywhere. In this particular instance, it covers all of you, apart from Nurali, that it just kind of wipes off immediately, apart from your coat or your robe. As that bolt of lightning lands, for a split instant, not even a second, you see across all of the road in front of you, as that lightning hits, for an instant, it gives you the vision of creatures that were previously invisible. Just giant pointed fingers that look like blades, translucent skin that you can just about see what looks like kind of horns sticking out of their head, and twisted kind of scales across their arms and their chest. There's a small pointed tail behind them. You can see that one of them has blood dripping from its kind of clawed fingers, and you can see now across the chest of the person that is just fallen at your feet, that blood is seeping out of them. Again, thunder, lightning strikes directly in front of you, and now all of those individuals have got maybe 10, 20 feet closer. Some of them are running, at least that's all you can see for that instant. And you can see that there are maybe 10 of them. They look angry. They look hungry. And that is the cliffhanger that we get to end on today.
Oh, shit. God
Well,
damn.
heck.
I miss Wolfmans.
I miss puppies.
Yeah.
Ask if they know Thor. I will agree that the lowest storm clouds capable of making a thunderstorm are absolutely usually tall. Okay. I know this one. Oh, I'm not reading out meteorological terms.
No.
Regret the second I started saying that. Jesus.
Cumulonimbus.
Right. Game over. You're all dead. I mean, game over for this session. This particular session is over.
God.
Oh God.
Next session, we will fight these scary monsters that only appear during lightning strikes.
That's going to be difficult.
Dun dun dun.
If we just stop the lightning, they can't appear, and then they.
Or is it?
Oh,
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, probably. Right. Nice game after the extended break. Look forward to the next session. Looking forward to the next session. Myself, it's been a pleasure DMing for everybody. like I did any DMing
Like you
today.
DM. Funny joke.
But it's nice to see everybody in chat. I hope you guys have had a lovely couple of weeks and that you have a nice week. Although I'm sure I'll see some of you in Jenny's chat whilst she streams throughout the week before our next games. Everyone happy? What are you gonna do, Jenny?
Let's do a raid.
Okay, okay.
I wonder how long that's streaming for. It'll be fine. Bip.
Nice, we can hear haiku. Yes, Jack has a new microphone. It's way nice, isn't it?
It's a hell of a lot better than the old one.
Absolutely.
Lovingly gifted from who? Tom?
Who?
Was it?
Santa.
Yeah.
Oh, Santa.
Alright. Okay.
Tom sent me. It was very kind.
Oh.
Tom is Santa.
Tommy Santa, absolutely.
Confirmed.
Alright. Thanks for chilling with us, everyone. Come over and raid and just spam some hearts, and then you can go do whatever you want to do with your day. That'd be very kind. But thanks for chilling. We'll be back next week, probably, unless anything happens. If it does, I'll tell you about it in Discord. But otherwise, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.